Let's read Social Studies Lesson 3 from our textbook, page 292 through 297, and then we'll also complete our practice book, page 48. Just one reminder too, first grade, I actually created a playlist on my YouTube channel, which means I have a collection of videos that you can watch if you want to. And I called it How It's Made because there's this show that teaches you how things are made in a factory. Since this social studies unit is all about the marketplace and all different kinds of goods that people sell, I wanted to create a chance for you to see how some items are made. I have how it's made videos for sprinkles, donuts, bagels, crayons, candles, all kinds of things. So you can check that out because you might find that really interesting. I know that I do. I really like to watch that show. So I made that playlist. You can just check that out. It's only if you're interested. You do not have to watch those videos, but you might find them really interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and start reading Lesson 3. Lesson 3 on page 292 is called Buyers and Sellers. Now, we've talked a lot about goods and services, and the name for a person who buys something is a buyer, and a person who sells something is a seller. But often, people can be both. You buy things, and maybe you also are a person who can sell things to others. Let's go ahead and start reading together. You can follow along with me in your book or just listen as I read. Buyers and sellers. Amy's community has a large outdoor market. A market is a place where people buy and sell goods. Now, grocery stores can also sometimes be called a supermarket, right? Because it's a big place where people buy and sell goods. But maybe you're also familiar with a farmer's market, which is just set up outside. And usually there are vendors that are local, people who are sellers from the area who have a lot of great things to sell. Let's keep reading on page 293. Amy has money to spend at the market. She's going to buy a gift for her grandmother. Amy sees that there are many choices of what to buy and where to buy it. She will think about what gift her grandmother would like best. Amy will also think about how much she has to spend. Okay, this is really important as a buyer. You need to think about what you would like to buy, but you must also keep in mind how much money you have to spend. It's important to plan ahead and really decide, is it something that you need or is it something that you want? Should you buy it now? Should you wait till later? Buyers have a lot of difficult choices to make, and I'm sure moms and dads or even other family members have talked to you about when you go to a store, even if you see something that you like, you might want to wait to buy it. You cannot always buy everything that you see at a store that you like. You do have to make some choices. Is this a need? Is this a want? Is it the right price? Should you go to a different place and find it at a different price? You have a big responsibility as a buyer. And so here we're going to learn about Amy and what she would like to get for her grandmother. We see there's one part of the market has refreshments. That means like beverages. There's a bonsai booth, which means these small trees that are sculpted and cut very carefully to make different shapes. A picture corner from this artist and flowers by Lopez. So we see a florist is also here. So she has a choice to make. Let's turn the page and continue. Ready? Begin. Buyers trade with sellers to get the goods and services they want. When people trade, they give one thing to get another. Amy will trade some of her money to get a gift for her grandmother. So here we can see the trade happened. Amy provided a trade. She provided money, and because he received money, the florist Lopez returned her with a bouquet of flowers. Here is a trade. The flowers had a particular price, and so she needed to pay the price for those flowers. Sometimes other people, though, they might trade something, and it's not always money. For example, in my family, sometimes what would happen is if one family member helped someone out at their house, maybe fixing something, then that family member would come to my house and fix something we needed. So sometimes you do a trade, not always with money, but sometimes you can trade with services too. Maybe that's happened to you or someone in your family and you know about that. Let's take a closer look at how money moves. Money moves from person to person as people buy and sell goods and services. Now, we're not talking about how money moves, like money can just start walking on its own. No. We're talking about how money moves from a person to a different person. So let's watch this process. This cycle starts here with number 1. Amy earns money selling lemonade. Okay, so that's where it starts. That's where she got money from. She was actually a seller. She was selling lemonade. 2, Amy buys a gift from Mr. Lopez. So the money that she earned, she now had to trade it for the flowers. So now the money that she earned from the lemonade stand actually was given to Mr. Lopez. Then let's see what happens next in 3. Mr. Lopez pays Mr. Harris for fixing his car. So now the money from Mr. Lopez is given to Mr. Harris. And let's see what happens for 4. Mr. Harris buys lemonade. And so the money from Mr. Harris went back to Amy like it was at the start. That's pretty incredible to think how money has moved from person to person. Let's turn. Here you can see a very large picture of a bank. Maybe you've had an opportunity to visit a bank. Maybe your family has set up a bank account for you. But it's important to have a place where you keep extra money that you set aside to use at a different time. Let's read about that on 296. Amy does not spend all of her money at once. She spends some of it, but she saves some too. To save means to keep some money to use later. Most people put their money in a bank. A bank is a business that keeps money safe. It's a great idea to save money, first grade. Yes, you need to spend things and buy things that are important for you, right? You need to have money to pay for the food that you eat, the clothes you wear, to have electricity and water at home. All of that's important to spend money on those things. And if you have extra, it's important too to save it up for later. Maybe you're going to save up to buy something later that is more expensive, and that could be a reason. Or maybe you're just going to save it without an exact reason why, but you're going to save it knowing that maybe later something will happen and you might need to use it. At a bank, they actually have something called a safe, which is where they place the money and protect it, and it's locked. If you've ever seen a safe before, maybe you have a small version of a safe at home. A bank will have that as well, but a much larger one. Okay, let's go ahead and read the summary together. Buyers trade money with sellers for goods and services, right? You have to do a trade. People save some money for use later. That's important too, right? Yes, you can earn it, and maybe you should think about how you want to spend it later, so save it until you're ready to make that choice. Since we're all done reading here, let's go ahead and work on our practice book, page 48. Page 48 is called Buy, Sell, and Save. Choose a sentence from the box to tell about each picture. Okay, here we have a few illustrations. We see that there's a delivery person and a man receiving a box. Then we see a man behind the counter, and we see a woman who has some jewelry in her hand. Then we see this same man, and it looks like, can you figure out what that place might be? To me, it looks like he's at a bank. Let's go ahead and read these sentences to figure out which sentence matches each picture. Let's look. Sellers save some of their money. Okay, sellers save some of their money. Does that match picture 1, 2, or 3? That matches picture 3 because here we see him at the bank. So we're going to write sellers save some of their money by putting that on number 3. Sellers save some of their money. And check it off at the top once you've written it. Okay, our next sentence says, sellers sell goods to earn money. Which picture looks like someone is selling something? Picture 1 or 2? To me, it looks like picture 2. It looks like he is the seller at the store. This woman would like to buy this jewelry and she's paying to him to make that trade. So we're going to write sellers sell goods to earn money for number 2. Sellers buy things they need. What's the only option left? Number 1.